I'm chanting, then you just let it go, because that's where you're supposed to go. But living in this world and becoming a little disinterested in it, so can somebody help us gain balance here so we can chant really good rounds and not become an avadut? Anyone have any insight?
I don't think everybody has that problem.
Well, you've been...
I mean, I know there's somebody, I just think of Harmony Vadakara's telling that you have the right to be attached to doing your duty. And so I just figure, if you have a certain duty at a certain time, that's actually part of your Krishna consciousness, is to do it well. And of course, Prabhupada was a good example of that. Of course, most of the things are Krishna consciousness, but still have a lot of material things also. You know what I mean?
So whatever your varna
at that time, although I mean, it's for me, I also am, kind of setting my sights higher. Wanting to be more absorbed and more engaged in direct Krishna consciousness. So I guess it's just kind of trying to do both. Do what you have to do and looking higher.
I like that answer. It reminded me of in 1974. I asked Prabhupada if I could take sannyas. Maybe that was the second time I asked. So I was married at that time, and he said, "I don't want to give sannyas until you become an ideal grihasta." So it was very duty, So I was very much into spreading Krishna consciousness, and very much into chanting. So that was making me so-called detached. At least I thought I was becoming detached. So I think it's a similar thing, where Prabhupada's saying, in another sense, you go one stage beyond and be even better at it, and be detached being better. So when Sukada was talking, I was thinking, well, maybe it's that you go to work and you do your work really well, but you're like very detached from whatever else is going on. It's not like this is, we can get very attached to jobs, and this is very important, and this paycheck's very important, and my whole life revolves around it. So that could be one aspect of it. I mean, I always, when we were first devotees, we were always taught, you do everything better. This is Krishna's car. You have to drive it better than, you should drive your car, take care of it better than your car. Which, of course, didn't happen, but that was what we were taught. Maybe it happened for a while. You wanted to say something, Ranga?
I think it was on those lines that whether or not those feelings are actually real and consistent, they kind of have to, go through the test of time, because we do a lot of Bodhikyaga, and so
right.
We can get surcharged from chanting, but then you can also then maybe get really excited about something material. It might be something good or something bad, like what is the result of letting go of your job? Now you have all day to do what? Get welfare, your bed, what are you going to do? So there has to be a real change of heart, and that could take some time. You can get confused, what's real and what isn't.
So you can, so you're saying you can kind of go with it at the same time, be grounded. So you're.
Yeah, you see how long that feeling lasts, and continue chanting, and like Prabhupada said, chanting is the answer to everything. So if you're going to solve your material problems, or your interest to give up material life, then the way you do it will be by chanting, and it will stand up to the test of time and endurance, and not only time, but difficulties and problems and those type of things.
It also reminded me of what Prabhupada said about his father. He said his father was a cloth merchant. Didn't he say his father was a cloth merchant, but his real business was puja?
Yeah.
In the Abhay Charan video, it shows Prabhupada traveling with his business. And then I believe it's in... We need that for the...
I do, because
And then I think he went to Delhi. He went somewhere, and he was staying in a temple. And it shows him up very early in the morning. This is on his business trip. He's up early in the morning, chanting and doing puja. And I looked at that and I said, "Yeah, this is Krishna consciousness. That this external world is one place, but your internal world is. Your sacred world is always there." No, go ahead.
Well, I've been thinking about, as Aditya was thinking about the newspaper thing, I was thinking about the blueprint thing. And I've been realizing that I think I have a certain way of, a conditioned way of thinking of myself as a devotee and when I'm chanting. And because I do that, it really lowers my expectations. And it also, what it really does, what I've been realizing, because I've been really trying to be more conscious, to be attentive in my japa, what the blueprint mentality does is gives us an excuse to be irresponsible in our japa. Oh, I'm just not that kind of devotee, or whatever our excuse, So I've been more conscious of that and trying to be more responsible.
That's good. I was just thinking of that blueprint today. And I think what happens is, for many of us, when we see a very advanced devotee, there's a thought that devotee is special, and I could never be like that devotee. Have you ever thought that way? He's in another league, I can't be that way. But that's really not true. Because if you look at how that devotee's living, instead you can understand why that devotee's like that. I was thinking, we should write a book, study, like they write books on success, material success. So, study successful devotees. What do they do? How do they live? How do they think? What are their attitudes? What are their practices? And you'll see very similar things. And if in all these books on success, they're basically saying, well, do the same thing that the successful person did. Think in the same way the successful person did. Or thinks. And you'll be more successful. So I once did a seminar in prayer. One of the things I asked the devotees was, what kind of devotee would you like to be if there were no restrictions? If there was no blueprint? What would it look like? And so they wrote it down. And after they wrote it down, I said, well, there's your prayer. Now you know what to pray for. Because that's what you really want. But we don't always see that because we think we can't achieve it because we have a blueprint. And like Srila Aditya said, that blueprint enables us to be irresponsible because we think, well, why try because I can't achieve it. It really changes when you change the blueprint. So devotees got pictures of, they might have a picture of a devotee. I like to be humble like this devotee, determined like this devotee. I like to be compassionate like this devotee. So they got their ambition. And then the prayer, so then it activated the effort, the endeavor. What do I have to do to be that way? And Radhanath Swami was asked, how is it that you developed so many good qualities? He said, I just practiced. And we think, oh, Radhanath Swami, he's so great. No, he said, I practiced. How did you become humble? I practiced being humble. So, I aspire for humility. I realize I'm not humble. What do? I'll never be humble. Why try? Or, I want to be humble. Let me practice. Nice realization.
Well, part of that too is not trusting that Krishna is the ability.
Right.
So if we're trying to connect, we're talking so much about connection.
Right.
And we're saying, Krishna, I can't do this.
Right.
I mean, that's the truth. So please, help me.
Yeah. We're doing it together. Teamwork. Our japa, as Mukunda said last week, our everything. That's so. Okay, Krishna, here I am. I can't do it, but I want to. I want to tell a little story. It's amazing. Have you ever... I think Mukunda was expressing that when he made a commitment the day he was initiated, his japa was just like the holy name was just vibrating out of him as if he weren't even chanting. It was chanting for him. I'm sure we've all experienced some days like that when something special happens and you realize, I'm not doing it, but Krishna's changing the way I'm seeing and thinking. Is there anyone who hasn't experienced that? So we've all experienced that, and we've all experienced the opposite, that we're making this effort and nothing's happening, and all the wrong attitudes and thoughts are coming. So at least we understand or we experience that Krishna can do very wonderful things for us. And it's His gift. And if we aspire for that, He'll be more inclined to do that.
Because over the years we haven't really talked about japa, it was one of those things that kind of like one of the 4 regulated principles we just didn't talk about. Like, because I heard this sannyasi, he was saying, he was really appreciating this devotee came up and said, instead of how are you, how's your bhajan? Now that's a really sage question. I mean, we're all really, that is what our focus is, but we have tended not to do that. So there's a whole culture maybe that's just beginning where we're sort of taking this out of the closet and putting it up front and shining lights on it. And there's quite a bit that's involved in that. And I just wanted to ask you a question about the darker side of japa, which is the clearing stage. You know, it's not always that there, you know, just because you're concentrating, at least for me, it's not all of it, it's not just, you know, roses and it's just incredible and it's wonderful and just getting, you know, prickly goosebumps every morning. It's not like that at all, you know. So I just wondered, with your experience of all these japa retreats and people giving feedback, I know that we're all individuals, and so you can't really speak to any one cookie-cutter way that it always is. But, you know, just that clearing, you know, when things are coming up, and I'm seeing changes in my daily life. I'm actually seeing, because we're engaged in this process of clearing rather than just offensive japa, I mean, I am actually seeing a difference in the way I'm responding to things. I'm going, oh wow, you know, this effort that I'm making, that Krishna is reciprocating with, it is making changes in my life that are actually quite positive. But it's not all, you know, cuddly and, you know, warm and cozy during japa time.
So how to deal with that, or what does it mean?
Well, I don't know if that's anything that's ever come up for you, or if anybody's ever talked about it.
For me, no, never.
Yeah, well, is there anybody else?
First I want to say, address the first point you made, that you said we're bringing our japa out of the closet. When we were in New York this spring, at our level 1 retreat, Tamahar was there, and we were talking with one another about problems we face in improving our japa. And then he made the comment, he said, you know, we've never talked about japa. We never came out with it and talked about it, and that itself is therapeutic. So I'll defer your question to Badahari. Since I don't see any of those dark things, I'm not really qualified there.
I see lots of dark things. Well, just sometimes it's painful chanting, because my realization that pain we feel is just our own. It's coming from us. It's coming from our own. It's coming from our attitudes. It's our not being in control and wanting to be in control, and just being faced with the fact that we're helpless. And I know, like my first 64 round day at the Japa retreat was just it was nice. Some of the day was just kind of hard. I just got through it, and then I had the next one. Was about halfway through the day, I was convinced that I was a demon. I was just not only not a devotee, but that, you know, really not a devotee. And but then I just and I became determined to focus my chanting on really trying to understand the nature of my condition. Why am I here? Why am I in the material world? What's the nature of my separation from Krishna? That became my focus. And little by little I understood that, well, I'm not a demon. But I've got issues that have to be worked out. and sometimes it's still like that. This stuff comes up. The desires come up. The fact that really we want to be enjoyers of the material world. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. That Prabhupada talks about this. It's called Viparyo Smriti. Instead of thinking that we're servants of Krishna, we think that we are Krishna, and it's very, very deep rooted. Even we hear about Indra, the king of the Devas, and he's still working on it. When Krishna takes the parijata flower, he's not okay with it. Krishna's God, but don't mess with my sense gratification. And he's a very great devotee. A very great devotee. It's not that that's there so that we can think that we're better than him. So anyway, just as far as I've seen, that's what we're working on. And it's very, very deep rooted, this sense that I'm supposed to enjoy, I'm supposed to enjoy my japa, or I'm supposed to enjoy the day, or I'm supposed to enjoy being a devotee. Prabhupada says that even the demigods, they're devotees who want to enjoy the material world as devotees.
Really?
Yeah, that's in Bhagavatam.
Oh my gosh.
So it's an issue that we work on birth after birth after birth after birth. So even though it's a little painful, the fact that we're at this stage in our evolution and we're really ready to take a look at it and go beyond just being happy chanters or ignoring it, but actually work on it and look at it, it should be like Haribol. It's a great step forward. I mean, when you think about how we even present Krishna consciousness, you can't tell people these things. That Prabhupada mentions it. He does mention it. I'm not making it up. He mentions it, but it's like a certain stage you come to that you're really ready to work on yourself and your relationship with Krishna, and it is uncomfortable sometime, and all this stuff comes up. But we should be joyful that we're at this stage and we're ready to be mature and do that.
Thank you.
I remembered what happens with some devotees at the retreat. Chanting 64 rounds is very special, and things happen in 64 that don't happen in 16. Is that true?
Yeah.
Definitely. It's almost like a difference between ping pong and tennis. It's like a different, or what, minor league baseball, major league, what is it? There's a difference there.
Depends on if you're a ping pong player.
All right, minor leagues and major leagues. There's a difference. And one of the things that comes up when devotees go through what you're talking about is hope. They get some experience on that 64 round day. Something special happens, internal purification or some taste or something gives them hope that I can go further, that I have gone somewhere, and I can go further. And that one devotee said, they'll say things, I say, rate your japa on a scale of 1 to 10, and they'll say, well, I came in, it was at 0.01, and now it's at 1, so I'm happy. You've heard things like that? Yeah, like at least it's at 1 now, at least it's better than where I started. So there's that hope. And I think also there's a feeling of fortune, gratitude. I'm fortunate to have the name. Even I don't chant as well as I could or should. I have it, and it does work. And maybe it's going to take a little longer for me. We do an exercise in appreciating the holy name, and one of the ways we do this is we ask devotees to go through their life and just go through your life as a devotee and think about all the times you took shelter of the holy name. Then you start to see that Krishna was with me through all those, the difficult time when I had to do this service, or the really wonderful time when Krishna bestowed some mercy and I chanted really well and I was really inspired in my devotional service. You start to see that actually through all the up and down, Krishna's there, and you appreciate that relationship. Even if our chanting isn't done that well, you appreciate it. At least he was always there and I was always taking shelter. And it's a wonderful meditation. If you do, anytime you want, do that meditation. There are many days that stand out in my mind of, it was only the holy name to keep me sane, there was nothing else. Or, that maybe many of you who did book distribution that weren't outgoing people, that morning during japa, or those of you who did book distribution just Christmas time, you had other services, you weren't used to doing it. Those mornings of japa were probably very prayerful. A lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. And you remember those days, how Krishna helped me and I took shelter. And he's my friend, he was always there. So that gives hope also that the relationship does exist. I think the relationship is a lot more than we think. And we do another exercise where devotees write down what they appreciate about the holy name and why. So it goes like this: the holy name is my, and they fill in the blank. And then because. The holy name is my what? Because. The one devotee said, holy name is my guru. Whenever she's confused, doubtful, she just chants. And Krishna, through the name, reveals, clarifies. The holy name is my one devotee said, the holy name is my psychiatrist because he keeps me sane in this crazy world. Holy name is my friend because he goes with me wherever I go. So that way we do this exercise and devotees make their own list and it becomes very real how close the holy name is to them, what it means. So I think we have a lot more to appreciate than we may realize. And when we take time to appreciate what the holy name means to us, it means so much. As I said, remember on the first day I believe I said, what if you couldn't chant? And if you woke up and you couldn't chant, would that be the worst day in your life? I'm sure it would be. If you lost all your money, that would be bad. But if you lost the holy name, that would be much worse. And you'd be willing to spend any amount of money to be able to chant again. And if we look at it that way, then we look at the idea of we don't have to chant, but we get to chant. It's an opportunity. Janavi, you had something?
Well, I've kind of been going through a hard time because I feel like I've experienced some, like from the Japa retreats, and you have, like you said, 64, you have a lot of time to be with Krishna, and so you actually experience some really special times, and then I get back home, and I'm just finding my life is so in the mode of passion, so when I go to try to chant, I can't seem to get in that state of mind, and then I become very impatient with myself and frustrated, and then I was trying to take it back to the root of, okay, in the spiritual world, I left Krishna, and I keep feeling like I just want to keep leaving him, like I want to keep going and doing other things, and then one day I was thinking, do I even really want to be with you, Krishna? I mean, it was just weird, it was almost like torture to sit down and chant one round, it got to the point where it was like the opposite extreme of, facing that reality of, do I really want to be with Krishna? I mean, that's a really heavy thing, because I left him, I've been ignoring him for so long, and all these years chanting and ignoring him, and now, when I really am wanting to focus, I'm just so conditioned that it used to be easy just to chant my japa, and now it seems like so much work.
Yeah.
And then, if I'm not experiencing something, I get frustrated. I don't like that, bored in japa, or I don't know. It's just I'm confused a little bit because it just seems like all these extremes, of the mind.
I want to say one thing that Giriraj Swami said in Dallas about this, his realization. He said, japa is a microcosm of our relationship with Krishna. Right? We left Krishna, we're trying to come back. So during japa, we're constantly, isn't it? Leaving, reconnecting, leaving, reconnecting. So I think one aspect of dealing with what you're saying, because you presented many things, one aspect I think is dealing with the reality of where we're at. And that's why we have Ashabandha, hope against hope. We have prayers like this. I'm not qualified, but Krishna, I want it. So I think that's important also in keeping the balance between where I'm at and what I want, and not allowing where I'm at to get in the way of what I want, which is it's very easy to become discouraged when we see the reality in the microcosm that I'm leaving. But one great spiritual master said something which I've never forgotten, and this has helped me tremendously. He said, the very sincerity that brought you to Krishna in the beginning, that sincerity that you found in your heart to become a devotee, says that's the thing that's going to keep you throughout your... Nahi kalyana kaschid durgatim tata gacchati. One who does good is never overcome by evil. That desire, that sincerity at heart, that's the one thing that brought us, and it's the one thing that's going to keep us. So even the other things are going on, if we connect with that sincerity of purpose and desire, that Krishna, this is what I want. And it also addresses what Harinam was saying. Sometimes I think when we're chanting, we can like open up to Krishna and say, Krishna, I'm feeling this way and I don't want to feel this way. I'm totally bored with this chanting and I don't want to be bored. I don't want to feel this way, but I am. And just confront it head on. What?
I said that?
You planted the seed. You planted the seed.
Credit, any kind of credit, it's fine.
You planted the seed. I'll give you an example. It's not an exact example, but something. About a year ago, I went to Toronto to do it was either a Japa program or a seminar on forgiveness and prayer. And I was hoping there would be like 60 devotees. And when it came down to it, there were like 22 or 3. I think we ended up with like 27. But I was discouraged. Because I'm a Mahatma, and so a lot of people should come for Mahatma, right? Because I'm so great. So I was chanting my rounds before the first program, maybe a few hours, and I was actually getting mad at Krishna. I spent years preparing for this. I spent thousands of dollars, I did training, how to do seminars, and only 27 people. I was like, why are you doing this to me? I was like, just having, one of these movie conversations with God, just out there, get mad, let him have it, And I'm just chanting my rounds, and that's what's going on in me. I'm chanting my rounds, like, why, And this voice came very powerfully to me, said, Mahatma, when you're ready, I'll send more people. So I think if we open up to Krishna with our feelings, and just let him know, I feel this way, I don't want to feel this way, I feel bad, I feel miserable, something's going to come. It may be, connect with your sincerity, keep going. But we shouldn't be afraid to feel bad. Look at Bhaktivinoda Thakur. There's so many prayers of how I feel bad because I don't love Krishna. I think also it's important to recognize that before you were a devotee, you wouldn't feel that way. That these are somewhat symptoms of some kind of advancement. At least Shama Priya had something.
Well, I was just identifying with what you were saying because, like, in the last few months, I was like going through a lot of feelings like that too, and I was just to a point of thinking, like, be feeling really discouraged, and then I was thinking, no, I want to, like, what was I even attracted to in the very beginning when I came to the temple? And so I started actually remembering the first time I stepped foot into the temple, and how nice it was, and how, it was the old temple, and Balboa Park area, and I just remembered like the sights and the smells and the devotees and everything, and I loved it. And I remembered, oh yeah, I loved it. And I was thinking, that's what I loved, and that's that feeling that I want again, So I started really concentrating on that more and trying to remember every time I felt like discouraged and like I didn't have any feelings for chanting or any feelings for Krishna, I'd start remembering, no, I do. It's just that it's kind of like an attack by Maya or something. You're thinking, no, you don't care. But no, I do. Otherwise, why would I be around for so many years? It's just like, why am I here? So sometimes we don't feel like we have any sincerity. We don't feel like we have any taste. But I think we have to like cultivate our own taste, remember why we were attracted and what we liked, and try to feel that feeling. And, I don't know. But I gotta also, I wanted to say before too, is like a lot of times I'd be chanting my rounds and just do it out of duty. Like I feel like the way I was raised as a kid was like in this German family, and I saw my grandparents and my mother and everyone do everything like duty bound. That was the impression I got from my type of German upbringing. That you just do it, whether or not you like it doesn't matter, you just do it. So I know a lot of years I felt that I just chanted my rounds like duty bound. But then I read something the other day, it was like not so bad. It's kind of a good thing to do things out of duty, because then it can develop. So, but I wanted to get past that just like duty bound thing and get into more like of a loving relationship. So, anyway, that's all.
Sukada, thank you.
I was going to say that I think that Krishna gives special mercy to mothers. Because it's so difficult sometimes. There you are, you wake up and sometimes you've got to get their lunches ready and their breakfast ready, and then you've got to bring them here and you bring them there. And so your japa isn't always like, sitting there in 2 hours straight. It's broken up, and so you start to feel guilty but I just think that Krishna appreciates so much that you're into it and you're trying. And I know that I have always just felt like, well, if I want to be a good mom, or I want to be whatever it is, a good teacher, or whatever it is, I'd have to chant japa, part of it duty and part of it, devotion, and that way will help me be the best, mom or teacher, or whatever it is, But it's just not always possible in our lives to be able to sit down. Is that part of it?
I guess that's what I found is, as a mom, I've been trying to count my 16 rounds, but in order to do it, I've been having to do it in the midst of other things. But now I don't want to do that anymore, so I'm really trying not to, but I really find it. It's like, I feel like my life doesn't work for me to sit down and really for 3 hours without doing anything else, because it takes me 3 hours. I mean, I don't know why, but it's like...
Because you went to the Japa retreat.
Say one time, like, chant 4 rounds before breakfast and 4 rounds before, so even if you do it like that, it's the purpose, right? It's the intent. It's so important also.
I guess we have to experiment with different. I mean, I've been trying to get up at 4 in the morning and 4:35.
Hey, I'm
an hour, and then I'm just like
I've been
all day long.
I've been a mother.
I'm 8 at night still.
I've been a mother the last few days. I totally relate. You know what I did? I was trying to work on something that I have no time to work on. So I got up this morning at 4:30 and I worked on it till 6:30. No japa. So today was not a good japa day. I went against my sacred space, and I had to prepare something for the Laguna Beach, and I wasn't going to have time. So I'm totally in your world right now.
We should have like a japa somewhere for moms.
What I would say about that is, all I can say is that when we're in difficult situations like that, we have to try a lot harder.
Yeah, just really.
It's like we can't go into it at the same level. Did I give that example of the pitcher? The batter who's going against the pitcher. You remember that example? Did I tell that? There's this I got from Tony Robbins. It's a really, really good story. He was hired to coach a batter who was going against the big team that they had to win, and he's going against one of the greatest pitchers. Throws the ball, pitcher. So Tony Robbins asked the person, he said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate the pitcher? The guy says, 11. Goes, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate your batting at the present moment? He said, 7. So he just made it very clear what he's up against and where he's at. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you up against? What are the obstacles you're up against on a scale of 1 to 10? For brahmachari, he's at 1. A mother's like at 10. So where do you have to be? Brahmachari, he's at 2, he's doing good. The mother has to be at 10.1. So it's just a realization, I think sometimes we try to enter that situation at an 8 and think we'll be okay, because 8 is okay when I was a brahmacharini, or it was really good, but it's not okay now. It's just another way of looking at it, kind of sizing up where you're at and what you're up against. And you can apply that to anything in your life.
But
Yeah.
isn't it sometimes like we try to, we unconsciously or something try to make it impossible to prove that we can't do it?
That may be there.
It's like, I'll never be able to do it because
Yeah, right,
it's
right.
impossible.
Yeah, throw in the towel and you have all your reasons. Definitely. Yes?
3 hours is a long time for Japa. What is the average time for most people? Have you done that study yet?
It was 2 hours before they went to the Japa retreat and 2.5 to 3 when they came out. Because they're relishing it so much more, they don't want to end it. Prabhupada was about 1.5 hours.
Yeah, that's more like
But, I think Satsvarup Maharaj was like a 3 or more.
It's really individual, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's individual.
That's how you pronounce it too, because I know this, one of my bhakti leaders, he's from Serbia, and the way he pronounced it so fast, he didn't miss a Rama, it wasn't wrong, it was Rama, and everything was full, but the way he went through it like military, like machine gun, he just chanted him in 5 rounds, 5-minute rounds. I tried that, it just didn't flow the same way it flowed in his time.
I find that I used to chant fast and like passionate chant, just to get it over with, and I got this realization came to me just recently that when I chant, it's almost like that. I'm like fighting with Krishna. Why not?
Right.
I felt that.
Yeah.
Like I was.
Why do I have to take this time out? Chanting it
Yeah,
out.
but after I started coming here, I feel like, why am I? If I'm having a relationship with you, why should I
Right.
talk to you like that or communicate with you like that? So then I started slowing down and chanting it, nicer from the heart. I felt so much better.
Raja, you want to demonstrate?
Haribol.
Want to demonstrate beat the clock japa?
Beat the clock, John.
He says beat the clock japa, Get them done. Get your rounds done as fast as you can. She's going to demonstrate beat the clock japa. You need to pretend you have a watch on your hand. How long did that take? How long did you?
Like 5 seconds.
Wow, 5-second round. And how long would it take to chant 16 rounds? A minute and a half. Fantastic. Okay, Braja's going to demonstrate. Someone talked about pronunciation. Braja likes to listen to devotees chant in the temple. So she is going to now demonstrate how different devotees chant in the temple. Okay? So after you demonstrate one and then you stop, and then we'll do the next one. Okay? This is the real world. This is what she's heard. We're not making this up.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
All right. What's another one?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Okay. What's another one?
I've heard that one before.
How does he say Rama?
Dum.
What else? Any more? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. That one? Thank you. Let's give Braja a big hand. So, we actually wanted to do a little exercise in pronunciation and posture. So this was the introduction to the exercise. And those of you who have been to our workshops or retreats know about this exercise. And you can never do it enough. So you need your partner, and we'll instruct you how to do it. And you have to sit within ear range of your partner. And who doesn't have a partner? Some people. I guess you two could be partners. So this is a very simple exercise. All of you on Krishna.com, if you could find a partner. If you don't have a partner, find a tape recorder. So someone has to hear you chant. Okay.
Nobody has tape recorders anymore.
Those little, whatever you call them. Okay, does everyone have a partner? You have to be able to hear your partner. So what I'd like you to do is choose who's going to be partner A and B. So partner A, raise your hand. Okay, so partner A, you're going to go first. And what I would like you to do is pretend there's no one in this room but you, and it's a typical morning and you're chanting. Don't chant for your partner. Just go into the mode, try to go into the mode how you normally chant. And partner B, you're going to listen to partner A chant. And what are you going to listen for? You're going to listen for 16 names, 32 syllables. Some devotees chant more than 16 names. Some chant less. Some chant more than 32 syllables. And you want to give them feedback. Are you skipping anything? And you also want to listen for something else. Kind of listen a little more deeply what's going on, if you hear anything else going on. Because sometimes when we chant, we're actually apathetic and we don't realize it. Like sometimes we're chanting like this, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. And if someone else listens to that, it sounds like you don't really feel like chanting. Whereas when you're chanting, you don't realize it as much as someone listening to it. You can also hear the bhakti in someone's heart when they're chanting. So it's not that you're meant to give negative feedback. You're just meant to listen. What do you hear? Positive or negative? And so we'll just go for 30 seconds. I'll tell you when to stop. And then you'll be able to give your feedback. So we can begin.
Question.
Yes?
Is it wrong to say Ram instead of Rama?
Oh yeah, might as well teach you how to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now Prabhupada was kind enough to say that even if you don't pronounce properly, Krishna understands the mood. But it's a long A, Rama. Unless you're from...
So there's 2 syllables.
Unless you're from... Yeah, because there's 30... Prabhupada said, 32 syllables. If you're from Bengal, it's Ramo. If you're Hindi, what?
There is a statement also. There are many kind of understandings about the holy name. And one of them is that when you say the syllable Ra, that you drive out all sinful reactions. And when you say Ma, that shuts the door. So they can't come back in. So it's a good idea to say Rama.
Yeah, very good point.
Well, you could do that with Saint Krishna, so you can skimp on the Rama.
Huh?
Krish? No, they say that across the word Krish. No, you also check in.
They say that also?
Yeah, so
anyway.
you can skimp on Rama.
It's a very Jewish way to look
That's
at
good.
it.
We have an escape clause.
Save energy, okay? It's not important. Okay, let's begin. Partner A, you begin chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Okay, partner B, you can give feedback. Doesn't have to be negative feedback. And must find something good about their chanting. Please.
They're chanting.
Oh, wow. What? Yeah, what should we do? We got to do something inside. We'll just do posture for 5 minutes. And then maybe we'll just do yours and we'll be able to chant. Stopping now. Chant for a couple minutes. Let's move and then go on. I mean, the basic thing is we're taking stuff home to improve their chanting during the week. So
Every single, I never chant all the
yeah, neither do I. It's been pointed out many times to me. Ram, Ram, Ram. Even on Krishna.com they ask me, why don't you chant Rama? Okay? So now we're going to have partner B chant and partner A listen. Yeah. Okay, so partner B, you can begin. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna,
But I mean, that's the meter. If I keep that, if I keep it in pairs, the opposite. Another suggestion. A little over 2 hours.
Okay? So, partner A, it's your time to give feedback. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
I can come on just talking about it's like the most important thing in life. I never talk about it.
Yeah.
It's like it's the best of realizations of chanting. You know, sometimes it's hard, but she said that she's noticing all this. It's hard, but she's noticing all this positive scrubbing is the hard work.
I also wanted to mention that, it's also how we enter into the chanting. Sometimes, I have to tell a little story. Sometimes we enter it, and it's one of these So he's got that as part of today's. Okay? Anybody find out they were chanting more or less syllables?
I cured myself. I've cured myself. My husband cured me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So did anybody find out they're chanting a different mantra? Yes.
But I noticed holds me into it. We start with Hare, one say Hare, and then in the second, like for Krishna, with Hare Krishna, and then Hare Rama, Hare Hare. It's a little.
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So the whole point is to be more conscious. Think that instead of Sukada hearing you, Krishna's hearing you tomorrow morning.
Can we do that exercise? The one
Oh,
we did in the Japa Workshop?
maybe,
It was
maybe.
so powerful.
Maybe. I wanted to say something before I forget to address Jahnavi's question, and not her question, but what she was revealing. I was given a very wonderful process that I use on every evening of every 64 round day, and that is to make an intention of how you want your day to go. And you do that in the evening, and it becomes processed by your subconscious mind. So I made an intention that it would be enjoyable, relishable, it would be easy, it would flow. I make those kinds of intentions, because obviously those are the obstacles we face on a 64 round day. We get bored, we get distracted. So I make those intentions. I don't make intention not to be bored, I make intention to relish, to be excited, to look forward to being with Krishna for 10 hours on that day. So I make those intentions. And the devotee who taught me this process said that if you do that in the evening, a half hour before you go to sleep, your subconscious mind processes it. And when your subconscious mind processes it, the subconscious mind cannot deal with a reality that is different than what it's programmed for. So I had a very interesting experience when I did that the first time or the second time, is that everything that I made an intention to happen, happened. So I was at I think this day I actually got up to 78 rounds or something. It was like I was ice skating down, just flowing down. But when I got up to about 55, I panicked. And guess what my panic was? I wasn't struggling. That was my panic. And I realized I'm so conditioned to struggle that I freaked. I thought, I'm doing something wrong. It's too easy. Like, this is too enjoyable. It's too easy. I'm not struggling. I must be doing something wrong. And I wanted to struggle. I wanted it to be difficult. So, as Shamapriya was saying, sometimes we can enter into our chanting expecting something, or if it's really good, maybe I'm not chanting. It maybe has to be the dark night of the soul, otherwise it's not good japa. And then kind of our subconscious is programmed for the dark night of the soul. I'll see all the demons when I chant, or I'm not really worthy for good japa. So if I get bad japa, it confirms my where I'm at, and so we just have to look at those things. It was really funny. I mean, I saw it clearly, and I was laughing at it. I go, this is really funny. I'm so conditioned to like things would be difficult because they have been, and so you can make an intention in the evening that tomorrow my japa will be however it is you want it to be. I'll break the barriers, past barriers. I'll change my blueprint. I'll whatever. Yes.
How does that work exactly if we're not if we're supposed to be working on not being the controllers, and we're saying, okay, this is how it's going to be, Krishna, it's going to be you and me, and this is how it's going to be. And
no, it's your intention. You're just making the intention.
Okay.
And that's your desire that you're throwing out there, that you.
Man proposes, God disposes.
Yeah. Then whatever happens. But I've actually never had a bad experience on the 64 round day because I always make that intention, and it's very interesting because on the 64 round day, a lot of devotees would say, "How did it go?" And they say, "Well, it went really good for the first 16, but the second 16 was really hard, and by the third 16, I was ready to jump in the lake and kill myself. And finally, by the fourth 16, I actually got a taste, and I actually chanted more than 64. So that's very typical. Some people who've never done 64, it's typical. How did it go? It was horrible. I was struggling all day. And I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting there going, I didn't struggle at all. It was relishable all day, from the first to the 64th. I what's wrong with me, And I started to realize the power of wanting to have that experience, and Krishna saying, okay, that's what you want, then that's what you're putting out. And I wonder if other people are going into it with such a fear that it's going to be difficult, that what you focus on expands, you get what you expect, and that may be happening. So I just wanted to throw that out, because I think a lot of our struggles are, we expect them. When Jahnavi was saying about the feeling, I'm not getting the feeling, I think sometimes we might feel guilty, like I'm a sahajiya if I have a feeling for Krishna. I'm not supposed to, because great devotees say I have no taste, I have no feeling, so we might deny something that's there. It's not, I'm not saying I have real feeling, but I said it was a good experience. It's not that I'm relishing on a high level, but something is there. So I think we need, we can look at those things when we enter our chanting and have some expectation that Krishna can help. Otherwise, we're expecting it to be difficult. We're afraid of it. We go into, oh my God. I realized, okay, it's like 8 or 10 hours. So you think 8 or 10 hours of japa. Wow, I'm going to get really bored. What a way to enter it! I'm expecting to be bored. I'm expecting it's going to be difficult. So one of my intentions was, I am excited. It was like an affirmation. I am excited about spending the whole day with Krishna. I never get to spend the whole day with Krishna. I had to sit in my office, pushing papers, answering a zillion emails, doing this and that. I go, wow, I get to spend the whole day with Krishna. Shouldn't I be excited about it, or rather thinking, oh no, 64 rounds, how am I going to do it? This is going to be horrible, I'm going to get bored, it's going to be difficult. So I think just by changing my attitude, Krishna just made it flowed. So I think that's important, to look at those things. So, now, Padahari was supposed to start at 7 o'clock, at 7:36. So, you want to go for it, or you want to keep going with the flow of questions? Or
go through the kirtan time?
Well, not everybody will be.
How long is it?
45 minutes?
Well, no, I can.
Well, we can start because
take a vote. How many want to spend 15 extra minutes?
Well, we don't.
Okay.
I'll do it. It'll be short and to the point.
It's a continuation of yesterday. Last week. It's going deeper into the internal space.
Yeah, I wanted to ask the prayers that I passed out last week. Did anybody try those? Did you find they were nice or helpful? Yeah.
I remember really early, just like a year or two after I joined, I heard that Prabhupada made the statement that he saw some japa beads just hanging on a nail, and he said they were crying, because they should be in a bead bag, protected and cherished and all that. And I thought, how could that be? They're just wood, And last week when you were talking about their tulsi, and tulsi is ever present and auspicious, and that's not ordinary wood.
Yeah.
And I just like, oh my God, duh. Of course. That's why this doesn't compare.
Jai,
Haribol.
Haribol.
That's what you have to do, but don't do it when you don't.
Yeah, I didn't in my research. I didn't find any mantras for clickers. Maybe there are some. I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, so those prayers are powerful for also setting our mood before we chant. And so this little session is about it's kind of three things together. One is the meaning of the mantra, and also praying, and praying while you chant, and also chanting with feeling. They actually are synonymous kinds of things. So Srila Prabhupada gives our kind of basic meaning of the mantra, which is, my dear Srimati Radharani, my dear Krishna, please engage me in your service. And there's a nice statement where he says, in the beginning of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we first address the internal energy of Krishna. Hare. Thus we say, O Radharani, O Hare, O energy of the Lord. When we address someone in this way, he usually says, yes, what do you want? The answer is, please engage me in your service. This should be our prayer. So, on one hand, the mantra it's just the name of Krishna. There's no other meaning. We're just calling on Krishna. Another time, Srila Prabhupada was asked, what does the mantra mean? And he said, it means, oh my friend, oh my friend, oh my friend. So, on one hand, we're just calling on Krishna, but within that calling, there's meaning. Right? There's some meaning. Just like when you call on a person, like if you call your kids and you're angry, you're just calling their name, but there's some message attached to that, right? Get over here right now, so there's different meanings in how we call. So I think it's Sanatana Goswami, in Hari Bhakti Vilas, he specifically mentions that if you want the effect of the mantra, then you have to contemplate the meaning while you're chanting. And that's one of the instructions of while chanting Hare Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada gives this basic meaning, and again, it's a prayer. We're calling to Krishna. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, what is it here? Can you ever find this when I'm looking for it? I have to read this. Yeah, he says that with a happy heart, one should recollect the meaning and the form of the Nam. So this is the idea. So we remember the meaning of the name. Also, one should pray to Krishna, which will lead one onward on the path of bhajan. If one does not do this, many births will pass in vain, and one will lead life in frustration like the karmis and gyanis. There's a little negative there. But the idea is that from these statements of Srila Prabhupada and here is that we actually want to be praying to Krishna while we're chanting, and remember that we're calling for service. Now I just wanted to say one point on this, that sometimes I've had the devotees have said, well, I don't really have these feelings, so isn't it artificial to, isn't it, I don't want to be artificial in my relationship with Krishna. I don't really have these feelings, so how can I really call out like this when I'm chanting? So going back to this idea of first of all hearing, and then bringing the mind, and then bringing the heart, or seeing, where am I at? Like so many devotees have had very nice realizations that when they're chanting, where's my relationship with Krishna? What am I doing? So that's a nice beginning, and in that, just looking, just being there with Krishna and being open to what you're feeling, whatever it is, then immediately, feelings come, deeper feelings come. So what I mean to say is, it's not artificial. We have our issues with Krishna. but we also have a very deep relationship with Krishna. And if we begin by being attentive, then the natural feelings are there. So just to continue this one, this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This is from the Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur recommends that we use Srila Gopal Guru Goswami's meditations while chanting. Careful analysis of these short meditations will reveal that they are intended to help us achieve the different levels of devotional service as enumerated by Srila Rupa Goswami. So, that's what I wanted to share with you this week, and you can experiment yourself during the week. We'll look at these a little bit, these prayers. This is what our online guest was asking about, I believe. So there's 2 sheets, one for Hari and Krishna, and one for Hari Rama.
How do you get this if you're online? Send your donations to Krishna.com. Will they? Send an email? Alright, what's the email address? IT@Krishna.com if you want to get a copy. This is the meaning of the Mahamantra according to Gopal Guru Goswami. Pass these on?
So again, the idea is this is a call for Krishna, to Krishna. And of course we can call to Krishna in so many ways. There's japa is a very personal thing. And everyone has their own relationship with Krishna, and everyone has their own relationship with japa. But we can always go deeper.
You want one?
So these are very beautiful meditations. I know myself, when I first read this, I thought this first one, Hare, the meaning of Hare, is, O Radha, please capture my inner heart and deliver me from the bondage of material life. My first reaction was, who am I to pray to Radharani? I was thinking like that. And then as I meditated on it, I thought, well, Srila Prabhupada ordered us to. That's why. He got invited to the party, and I'm going along as his guest. I didn't get invited exactly, but it's on the order of Lord Chaitanya, it's on the order of Srila Prabhupada, and that's what we're doing, right? That's what Srila Prabhupada says when we're chanting Hare, we're calling O Radharani, we're calling on her. So, there's like a little awareness that I'm already doing that. Duh. So on the order of our spiritual master, we're chanting and calling upon Krishna. So I'll just speak personally, I guess. Back to this point that I was mentioning earlier about my own kind of journey with japa and discovering the dark side of Radha Haridas and so on. And feeling that, well, maybe there isn't that much devotion there. Or feeling that, feeling various things. But this first thing was the answer for me. This first prayer was that no, actually there is a relationship with Krishna, but my difficulty is that I'm attracted to the material world. I'm attracted to being an enjoyer. That's my problem. And I was thinking of the Kaliya serpent that. when Kaliya saw Krishna, he thought, wow, Krishna's so beautiful. But he's in my leg. Right? So he was so attracted. Krishna's so beautiful. But, but these feelings are still there. So I think that's something we may go through. I'm feeling uncomfortable because I feel like this is maybe not something everybody wants to hear. But this is one side of japa. But this prayer is so beautiful that just please capture my inner heart and deliver me from bondage of material life. In other words, we're praying to Radharani, please, because the beauty is there, the attractiveness of Krishna is there, and we're praying to be just captured by that. Oh Krishna, please pull my heart to you. Oh Radha, please steal my heart with your sweetness. So, these are very beautiful. I had a wonderful 64 round day. I never got past the first meaning. just this first meaning at least for 32 rounds straight, with just meditating on this and praying like this. And the thing, I guess the other thing I want to say about this is that these are, in one sense you could say this is somebody else's prayer, but it's not. It's our prayer. These are so powerful because these are also the desires of our heart. They're desires of everyone's heart, I believe. And so that's why these prayers are so powerful, because we can connect with that. I'm going to let it go with that.
You want to talk about some of the other ones? No? You want to do a little japa session?
Yeah, we could do that.
So, what we're going to do now is a little japa session. And before we do, I just wanted to do a small few minutes on posture. We did pronunciation. And if you could get your beads, I just wanted to show you something. Satchidananda Swami recommends that at least you try chanting some of your rounds sitting in one place. He actually recommends chanting all. And he quotes Prabhupada as saying, it's best to chant sitting, next standing, and next walking. So I'm not making this any way absolute statement. It's just something that you can experiment with. And I can relate my experience of this. One of the things that Satchidananda asked us to do when we chant is focus our eyes and not look around. As we know, the joke, radar japa. What's radar japa, Braja? Radar, the radar looks around. Can you do radar japa?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Okay, so I like everyone to do radar japa. You can move your head also. Let's chant a little bit and move your eyes around. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Okay, very good. So that's like a typical day in japa, right?
This room is pretty good because everyone.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Krishna's everywhere.
So now what I'd like you to do is focus on one thing. It doesn't even have to be a picture. You can close your eyes. It just has to be one thing, just so you can experience the difference between the connection between your eyesight and your mind. So just focus or just close your eyes. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare.
Okay. So it's obvious difference, right? I think part of the problem we have to be careful of when we take japa walks is we can do sightseeing. How do you do sightseeing japa? You know how to do sightseeing japa? Sightseeing? You remember we did sightseeing japa in the car? Whoa, look at that. Sightseeing japa. How do you do sightseeing japa? You're chanting, to a neighborhood. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama.
Is that advanced radar japa?
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. It's easier to do radar japa when you walk because everything's moving. So practically it's natural radar japa because everything's moving. So the point I wanted to make to you is that you can kind of tell what you're doing to your mind by your physiology. If you're kind of chanting like this, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, you can kind of tell that your mind is not really focused. Because if it were focused, it'd probably be more like this: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Does that make sense? So it's just something to look at when you notice you're chanting and you're walking down the street and you're reading the newspaper. Or you look, that's a nice house. I wonder how much that one costs. I wonder what it's selling for now. I wonder what the market's like. I wonder who does their lawn. I wonder what kind of flowers those are. That's really good. I like to get some of those flowers. So that's the problem. The sights create the thoughts, and that's why Maharaj recommends, as far as possible, if you can sit in one place, there's less distraction, wherever that place is, and create a sacred space. So, in this next, and then also posture. Right? There's a tendency for the mind to get lethargic if the body is lethargic. Right? You remember that story I told about the Japa Olympics? You've all been you're all part of the Japa Olympics. You've been chosen to chant Hare Krishna, and you're going to be competing with other mantra chanters to see which is the most powerful process of meditation. And you come in there like this. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. I don't think so. Right? This is Japa Olympics. How would you come in? How would you? Okay, you're in the Japa Olympics. Take your seat for the Japa Olympics. I want to see what you look like.
Supposed to take steroids first.
Okay, you're all on steroids. How are you sitting now? This is Japa Olympics, right? So it's naturally. If you saw a devotee chanting like this, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You might think, wow, that devotee is pretty serious about his chanting. And if you saw somebody chanting like this, usually happens about 6:15 in the temple. I've made usually around the 8th round is the time people poop out. You ever notice that? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You ever see that? What?
Yeah, I can't sit cross-legged anymore.
Yeah.
I know, I have to move.
So I would recommend rather than chant like this, sit in a chair. Have a weak back. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You can't chant really intently Japa Olympics like this because there's so much energy going against you. It's very difficult. So
there's actually there's a whole kind of science behind sitting and how it brings your attention, and there's actually a lot of things in the Vedas about posture and what it does. So
how about Bhagavad Gita?
There's a
6th chapter, 8th chapter.
Yeah, it's there.
Also,
Bhagavad
sitting in
Gita
front of the
also.
deity holding the knees is actually an offense, and this is the deity of the holy knee. So it's interesting.
Well,
so it's better to sit on a chair with a straight spine on the floor. Is that what you were saying? I mean,
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Pews. Japa pews.
So, if you need a chair, are there any extra chairs here? So what we're going to do now is we would like you to sit in good posture, focus your eyes, If there's no chair, you can stand up if you want. Just to be japa Olympians. And what I'm going to do while you're chanting is I'm going to, every 30 or 40 seconds, speak some meanings of the mantra. I just want you to have an experience of a focus on the meaning of the mantra. And how you can use this in your own japa practice. And I did this in Dallas, and after I did it, everybody said, "Can you make a recording of this?" And I realized that having this and affirmations every 45 seconds or so to chant to, it just keeps, you'll see, keeps us present with what we're doing. So we can begin chanting? O Radha, please show me how to serve you. O Radha, please show me how to serve you. O Krishna, please pull my heart to you. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, O Krishna, please pull my heart to you. O Krishna, please pull my heart to you. O Radha, please still my heart with your sweetness. Krishna, Krishna, please may I develop a taste for you. Oh Krishna, please may I develop a taste for you. Oh Radha, please make me qualified for serving you. Oh Radha, please make me qualified for serving you. Oh Krishna, please pull my heart to you. Okay, let's bring the chanting to a close. We know we're advancing in our japa when it's painful to be told to stop chanting. So, what we would like you to do for your homework this week is meditate on these during your japa, since you already have homework every day of 16 rounds, or how many rounds you're chanting. Chant with these meanings. So we want to add this to our internal space. We want to add the meaning of the holy name. We want to be living within the meaning while we're chanting. And it's not that you have to do all of these. You'll relate to some are maybe a little esoteric. The ones you relate to most. And do your best to enter into the mood of what's being prayed for here. So you add this to your list of things your buddy will ask you when you talk to your buddy. You have your original for the first day, ways to improve, things to avoid. Then you have your sacred space that you created. And now you have this. So your buddies ask one another what you can ask. However you want them to ask. Did you chant, or what did you chant to? Or Bhaktivinoda Thakur says three things. We should chant with the meaning, and we should chant with the sadhya, the goal, and we would chant with a feeling of great humility. So being aware of what it means, being aware of what we're trying to achieve by chanting, brings us closer to the name. Yes?
Some people may have a question, why haven't we heard this before if it's so great? Where's this coming from? And this is really bona fide and what Prabhupada want us to do.
He's asking, is it bona fide? Why haven't we heard it before? And would Prabhupada want us to do it?
I just think it's interesting that since the get-go we've heard that tape, the Japa tape, and we've heard Prabhupada over and over again say, sit properly, and for some reason,
Right.
we just didn't get it. I didn't get it.
I've heard a lot of this before, but just not done in a very detailed format, just like he's saying, subtle things like that. But most of this stuff, I subtly know it. I just never been sat in a group of people and worked on it properly.
Yeah, I think it's the byproduct of working on japa, that we're digging up whatever we can to help improve it. And certainly, I was thinking today, I was driving down the road and I was thinking, what was Prabhupada's mission? What might he have been thinking when he came to America? Was it that he wanted to introduce offensive chanting of the holy name throughout the world? Certainly not. I was with Trivikram Swami this past weekend, and he was talking about Prabhupada in his last days. We were talking about surrender and the fear of surrender that we had spoken about last week. And he said sometimes when we were with Prabhupada, it was a little scary because he wanted so much surrender. And Prabhupada wanted us to be like him. And knowing that Prabhupada's mission was to purify people, we know that he wanted us to do these things. We know he wanted us to take our chanting seriously. As he wrote to Tamahar in his initiation letter, chant 16 good rounds. He didn't just say chant 16 rounds. And a lot of times we think, 16 rounds, I've done my 16 rounds. Prabhupada specifically said good rounds. So I think it's important that we see our lives in relation to the mission that Prabhupada had. And I was thinking after Maharaj said that, I was thinking, how hard did Prabhupada try to purify us? What did he do? So many books, so much traveling. What did he really want from us? He wanted a lot more than I think most of us give, or may be willing to give. He really wanted, he didn't come to create a society of neophytes who will be struggling with their minds and senses for lifetime after lifetime. He actually came to give love of Krishna, and he wanted us to embrace it. And that's why he gave us so much, so we would do it. So I think going deeper like this is what he would want. He'd want us to chant this way. He wants us to go deeper in our relationship with Krishna. And as I said last week, it's good to feel our duty to Prabhupada and Krishna to do that. That we're obligated in a sense. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.